The Sports Source Saturday Kickoff is presented by Rusty Wallace Kia of Knoxville on Callahan Drive and by the Garza Law Firm.
This is their Super Bowl. It's an expression that's overused, but it is that way for Vanderbilt.
If they lose and get a third loss in an SEC championship game, I think they would fall behind Tennessee because to me, the committee so far has shown it doesn't value strength of schedule as much as it values your one-loss record.
You'll have to amputate this man's leg to get him not to play or him not to finish this game.
Listen, you can arguably make a case that Diego Pavia will be the best quarterback on the field.
Tennessee's offense just hasn't done anywhere near what we thought it would do, nowhere near 2022. It hasn't been as good as 2023.
When you look at Vandy's defense, their structure is kind of similar to what Kentucky likes to do a lot. They'll run that 3-4 defense. And so, I mean, what we've had a lot of success with in the past is a lot of our power plays. Power works really well against them.
So if you're going to run Dylan Sampson, you've got some yardage to be made right up the gut, baby.
You hate Vanderbilt. Period.
Good Saturday morning and welcome into the Sports Source Saturday Kickoff. We're here to get you ready for Tennessee Vanderbilt. That sounds exciting, Vanderbilt. It's because the playoffs are on the line. This is a de facto playoff game for Tennessee. We're going to get you ready for it. This show, I'm joined by two VFLs, Ollie Lane right over here, Kevin Simon right over here. Guys, thank you very much. We are normally at Rusty Wallace Kia, but since it's Thanksgiving week, we are in our studio, but we want to thank Rusty Wallace Kia on Callahan Drive. You know by now, after watching all year, I bought 5 different vehicles down there, 5 in a row. Sorrentos, Tellurides, loved them all, keep going back. But the beauty of Rusty Wallace Kia is if you're thinking about a Kia, that's the hottest brand in America, if you're thinking about a Kia, they will match any Kia deal from any Kia dealer in the United States. So in other words, if you're getting a Kia somewhere else, you're wasting money. Rusty Wallace Kia on Callahan Drive. Get down and see Jake Bull and his team. They are great people. You'll love them as much as I do. All right. Tennessee, Vanderbilt. This segment is called What's the Story? I already touched on it. The story is we got a playoff game. All right. Now, Tennessee's had a couple of these before. You had one where if you win it, you get in the national championship game way back in 2001. You had one against Vanderbilt. If you win it, you get in the Sugar Bowl. Didn't happen either time. This time, you had all the tumblers click into place last week. You needed a lot of breaks to get back in the bracket. As of Tuesday, you're 9th in the seeding. Kevin, how exciting is this? As a former player, as somebody that was on the staff over there, how exciting is it to have a playoff game going today that you win, you're in the playoff?
I think it's really exciting. I think, our fan base is energized. Everybody's been dreaming of this moment, getting in the play. That's all we talked about for the last year. Yeah. Was, all right, what do we have to do to get into the tournament? And then at that point, you got a chance to go win all the marbles. Heard some chatter this week about, this game, where does it stack in terms of, biggest game in Tennessee history since when? Yeah. And, whether you think 2001 LSU SEC championship game, now that game was good to go play for the national championship. So
that's like a national semifinal.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's quite on that scale. It's close. I think definitely shades of South Carolina when you're going on the road, because at that point in a 4 playoff, it looked like if you win that game, you were going to be in. Yeah. We all know how that went. But this game is probably the biggest one since that South Carolina game. And
even that was one of a series. You had to keep winning, whereas this one, Hayes in the barn. It's literally, you got to knock over this pin and you're in. The trick is, it's not always easy to go over there and win it. As much as we laugh at Vanderbilt, you look over the last few years, Ollie, this is your era. You guys, well, almost your era. You guys came back. Last 5 they've won in a row. Heupel hasn't lost to Vanderbilt. But you go back over the last 12 years, Vanderbilt's beaten you 5 times. It's 7 wins for Tennessee, 5 for Vanderbilt, which, when you signed with UT early 2000s, you wouldn't have believed that.
For shame.
As a matter your senior year was the first loss in 1,000 years in 2005.
Don't remind me.
Yeah. But this is not just your typical Vanderbilt team. This is a pretty good squad. How did you guys view them inside the building? Because, again, you had won 4 in a row. Last year was 5 in a row. Inside the building, was it back to not taking these guys seriously? Or do you look at them as, where's the hate level on this, I guess?
I mean, definitely hate level's high for this team because, it's still historically a rivalry game. And, we've had talks in the past they bring Coach Fulmer in, he'd hype it up and tell what it meant when he played. We've had former players talk about it then. So, I mean, it adds layers into the story for us. But, I mean, especially for me personally, I always viewed it as it's the Tennessee State Championship game. And, I mean, that's kind of like the little trophy that I add to the rivalry. But it's nice to always go over there and just, knock around little brother for a little bit and have some fun. And that's what I always enjoyed about those games. But, on the opposing side, Vanderbilt's always looking at it as this is an opportunity to ruin Tennessee's season. They hate ruining Tennessee's season.
Well, they love it. Yeah, they hate Tennessee. They love ruining their season.
Exactly. And so this is like number one prime opportunity for them to do that. I mean, we've got an opportunity that we had in 22 to make it to the playoffs, and now it's just staring us right in the face. And, I mean, that's something that's going to add to the legacy of this team, but then also add to the future of what these teams are going to be able to accomplish if they get to be in that position.
You've been around these coaches, this head coach, the staff. Any chances they're feeling nerves this week?
I mean, with this Vanderbilt group, I mean, since these guys feel a little bit different than your average group, I go back to 2005. I think in my mind, Vanderbilt, easy money. And at every point of that game when we lost, they had Jay Cutler and they had Earl Bennett, who was a second-round pick to the wide receiver, Chicago Bears. Even in the game, I'm like, all right, well, we're not going to lose this game, until we lost the game. And it kind of felt surreal because that put us at 5-7. We didn't, that was our first time not going to a bowl since it
was like 80 something,
88.
It was 88.
Long time, but so I should probably have more respect for Vanderbilt than what I do. But I think this Vanderbilt team feels different. Listen, you can arguably make a case that Diego Pavia will be the best quarterback on the field. When you watch him versus the surrounding cast that he has around him, I mean, he's the leading rusher on the team, on top of being the leading passer on the team. Statistically, Nico's thrown for more yards, Diego's thrown for another touchdown, but you can make a case that Diego's the best quarterback on the field. So you got to respect him. And offensively, they present challenges. There's a lot of eye candy, a lot of different things they make you look at. The passing game comes off the run game, and they make you play discipline with your eyes on defense, which has been a problem at times for us defensively with Tim Banks.
I thought Scott Locklear had a little bit too much room to run last week. I thought if you're looking for a warm-up for Diego Pavia, I didn't like the fact that Locklear got loose on him a couple times because that's Pavia's game. But the coaching staff, do you think there's any players may have nerves? Coaches are in a playoff game now. That's what this is. Winning, you're in, and you got the added stigma of losing to Vandy if you lose it. Are those guys just approaching it like any other game, or do you think there might be a little bit of a little more pins and needles over there with the staff, or no?
I'm not sure. I think it doesn't give you reason to feel great about it the way you came out against UTEP, and we all know UTEP, but still, you want to put your best foot forward. That's a good question.
We don't know yet, I guess.
I don't quite know the answer to.
We'll find out by about 3 o'clock today. It is a noon start. We got to catch a break here, but it is a noon start. It's right here on WATE 6 as soon as this show ends. Any concerns, very quickly, about playing early afternoon? You're not a great road team so far. 10 seconds or less. Does that bother you, or no, you feel fine?
No, not as much, because in road scenarios, when you play at those noon games, it's a lot better of an environment than it is when it gets later in the afternoon.
Because the opposing crowd is not into it?
Yeah, because I just go back to LSU when we went down there at noon, and Cajuns weren't ready, so.
And we'll see what kind of crowd they have. I know everybody's thinking, well, it's going to be an all-Tennessee crowd. When Vanderbilt has some success, all those Nashville people, there are a few of those sidewalk alums who say, it's something interesting. Let's go over there and watch that. So it'll be interesting to see how the crowd is split today. When we come back on the Sports Source, we've got a ton of people, a ton of topics. Here are just a few of them. Come on back on the Sports Source Saturday Kickoff.
I'm Jimmy Himes, and I'll break down Tennessee's college football playoff scenarios.
I'm Josh Ward, and we have big prop bets for today's big game.
And I'm Paige Dower, and we'll give you 3 reasons why we believe this Vanderbilt game might be more dangerous than usual.
Hey folks, it's Jake from Rusty Wallace Kia of Knoxville. The Vols are off to a hot start, so we're rolling out the hottest deals of the year. You can score a 2025 Kia Sportage for $249 a month, or you can drive home a 2024 Kia Sorento for $267 a month. Are you looking to go bigger? You can ride high in style in a 2024 Kia Telluride for $379 a month. And as always, every new Kia comes with Rusty's exclusive 200,000-mile warranty. So draw up the winning play and make your way to Rusty Wallace Kia of Knoxville, I-75 at Callahan Drive.
For 4 generations, A.G. Hines Company has been a pillar of the Knoxville community. And since Albert Hines Sr. opened our doors back in 1920, we've been supplying do-it-yourselfers with revolutionary products and tools. Manufactured stone is lighter, more cost-effective than traditional stone, featuring greater consistency of material and quicker installation times. Cutting-edge materials and tools at affordable prices. That's what we've provided for more than a century at A.G. Hines Company.
I was coming home and a lady hit me head on. It totaled my car, it fractured my right heel, and it bruised me up really badly. The Garza law firm, they were very compassionate, but yet they were very detailed. They didn't let me down. They never stopped fighting. It helped me regain confidence in law firms. I would definitely recommend the Garza law firm.
The Garza law firm. Let us help.
A day on the lake is more than just time on the water. It's a memory, a story that can last a lifetime. And no one makes memories like Madisonville Marine. Terrific prices, first-class customer service, and the area's biggest selection of boats, like G3 John boats. Gator Tough. These rugged boats are durable and dependable, season after season. Center or side console, storage boxes. Custom design your boat for your needs. Madisonville Marine. There's no better place to buy a boat.
Chris Smith was once let down by an insurance company, so he became an agent to make sure someone is fighting for you. Shop insurance now. See how Chris can give you peace of mind and save you some money. All insurance is not equal. Trust Chris Smith Insurance.
Every Sunday morning, the Sports Source brings you 90 minutes of honest, intelligent Vols coverage. More analysts, more topics, more fun. The Sports Source, Sundays at 11 on WATE TV6 and WATE.com.
Channel 6 is the place to be for college football today. The day starts with Tennessee traveling to Vanderbilt. Josh Heupel has never lost to Vandy during his tenure with the Vols, but this is a different Vandy team. That marches into the Iron Bowl at 3:30. Alabama is trying to hang on to what little playoff hope they have left. Then the night concludes with the play-in game to the SEC Championship. Texas at Texas A&M. This is the first meetup between the two teams since A&M was in the Big 12 back in 2011. John.
Thanks, Reese. Welcome back to the Sports Source Saturday Kickoff. This segment of our show brought to you by Freshie. It's organic tequila mixed with sparkling seltzer in a ready-to-drink can. Comes in 3 great flavors. It's getting tremendous reviews. Look it up online. Pick it up in 4-packs or 8-packs at your local package store. Freshie. Now, this segment, we carry Freshie, carry it, at the Bandit Lights Bar. And that's where Paige Dower, Vince Ferrara, and Bob Hodge are waiting for the 3 reasons.
Thanks, John. We'll give you 3 reasons why this game against Vanderbilt is more dangerous than usual. And I think we have to start with Vanderbilt's quarterback, guys, and Diego Pavia, and just what he's been able to do this season. Even in their press conference leading up to this game, he continually says, oh, I'm the best in the country. Look at the tape. I'm an NFL kind of quarterback. So he's kind of like, hey, check the film. I've done it all season long. You could look at the wins that they've had. And I just think his production, what he's able to do in the air, and the amount of times he's carried the ball himself at times makes him a really dangerous dual threat kind of quarterback.
I think he is maybe the biggest reason why they've played the way they have this year. Just the swagger that he plays with, the belief they give him, just the playmaking. Like they've had guys just kind of taking care of the ball at that position with not enough playmakers around them. Now, you got a playmaker at tight end. They have improved at the line of scrimmage. And they got a guy that can just make something out of nothing. A lot of times Bobby does it in spectacular fashion.
I remember before the season, I was reading something about him. And it was one person, oh, this guy can make a difference at Vanderbilt. And I thought, Seriously? you're coming from the hinterlands of New Mexico into the SEC, and you're going to make a difference? And so I've got to agree, Paige. I think he is the difference. And it is more than just what he does on the field, but watch him when the defense is on the field sometimes. Mm-hmm. The camera is cut away to him, and he's standing there cheering on the defense, which is something that most college quarterbacks, they don't have a lot of time to do it, but you don't see that happening. And for him to be that involved, that much of a team leader, and to have taken it over so quick, if you're a Tennessee fan and an SEC fan, be glad he's leaving.
Yeah.
And he's been battle tested based on their games and their big win over Alabama this year and winning on the road at Auburn, which they had never done. So he's got big game experience, and now you add him wanting that personal motivation you talked about of showing what he can do in this stage. Man, it's he's legit.
I think that's a great second point, too, as well, Vince, is that this is a proven Vanderbilt team. You mentioned the road win against Auburn. Winning in the road in the SEC, we know, is incredibly tough, regardless of the opponent that you're facing. So the fact that they were able to do that against Auburn, of course, at home, they take down, Alabama, and then, they hang pretty close with the Texas Longhorns. The game against LSU was a little competitive as well. This is a really good team. They were only averaged 2.5 wins coming into the season. Now they have 6, and a lot of those come in the SEC.
Well, and if you look what Vanderbilt has in front of them, what they can accomplish with this win, I mean, you're already going to a bowl game, so you've got that. Well, when the season is said and done, maybe it was the scalp you took from Alabama that keeps Alabama out of the playoff.
Yeah.
Now you're going for number 2, because if Tennessee loses, there's no way they get into the playoffs. So you've got a team that is motivated. You've got a team with a leader like Pavia. And so you've got some things in front of Vanderbilt in this game. No, they're not going to end up in the Sugar Bowl. They're not going to end up in the top 10. But you've got a chance to do things that historically Vanderbilt just never has done.
Well, and that makes them dangerous, a live dog, opportunity and motivation at the same time. And they've got it. Obviously, Tennessee, it's a road game, but they're going to have more of the fans still there. But it still is something that is not easy to do when you're not in your usual surroundings. And so Vanderbilt could make their century by ruining a season for Tennessee. And we've seen it, like teams that seem like they don't have a whole lot to play for, suddenly they come out and they're playing better than they have all year long. They've showed they have some ability. Now you add motivation and opportunity. It makes them dangerous. Doesn't mean they're going to win the game, but it makes them dangerous.
Well, and here's the other reason I think they're dangerous. It's because Tennessee's offense is dangerous. I mean, Paige, you look at Tennessee's offense, they're barely able to get to 20 points against a lot of SEC teams. Yeah. You're on the road where you struggle, and everybody in the SEC struggles. But I think Tennessee's offense, if you're looking for 3 reasons, well, that's got to be one of your biggest of the 3 is Tennessee's offense just hasn't done anywhere near what we thought it would do, nowhere near 2022. It hasn't been as good as 2023.
Well, I think this game, because of Vanderbilt's pass defense not being all that spectacular, does present an opportunity for Nico Iamaleava and the wide receivers at least to connect on those intermediate type of passes. Now, those deep balls are a little harder to connect on sometimes, and we've seen those in the dropped passes. But if they can connect in the intermediate, I think that'll bust this game wide open, and then a la Dylan Sampson will have a great game as well. And I think if Tennessee can get that firing on offense, this will be a good game.
Well, that's what we don't know is the offense hasn't traveled. Kind of like to Bob's point, Tennessee has shown at times they have the ability to do it, but it's been more so at home.
Yep.
Is it going to travel? So I think that is still a concern. Yes, it's not taking on Georgia, but will it travel? Will they be able to have those explosives? Are they going to struggle in the first half and then keep Vanderbilt in the game, and then suddenly you're playing a tight second half? It's a concern.
From what I've seen in the SEC, I'm going to go no, and no. This offense.
Okay, let me write that
down. Yeah, that's a good reason.
This game tight.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that, guys. But when we come back, we're going to hear from John and Jimmy Himes as they give us a little bit of their keys to the playoff situation, especially if Tennessee can win against Vanderbilt.
Hey folks, it's Jake from Rusty Wallace Key of Knoxville. You hear lots of offers with insane prices, unbelievable trade-in promotions, and crazy gimmicks, but aren't you tired of all that noise? Look, at Rusty Wallace Key of Knoxville, our message is simple. We'll beat any dealership's price on any new Kia, no matter who they are, no matter where they are, period. If you don't buy your new Kia on Callahan Drive, you'll pay too much. Rusty Wallace Key of Knoxville, I-75 at Callahan Drive.
Safety Systems, East Tennessee's top provider of home automation, security, and life safety systems.
Home and commercial security.
Camera surveillance systems specifically designed for your property. Professional monitoring, complete with emergency and after-hours response and repair. Burglar alarms for all access points. Upgrade your home or business with a single phone call to Safety Systems, East Tennessee's leader in home and commercial security systems for more than 20 years.
Games and things, 'cause life should be fun.
Isn't it time to get the family back around the table again? Put down those phones and stop by Games and Things today. We have the tables you need to get everyone playing together again. Pool tables from the best brands in the industry. Air hockey and foosball tables. Table tennis and poker tables. Shuffleboard and puck tables. Plus, Games and Things offers the largest selection of theater seating and bar stools in the area. So put down that device and get back around the table and start making some lasting family memories today at Games and Things, 'cause life should be fun.
From family heirlooms to sports memorabilia, protect and showcase your treasures with custom frames and shadow boxes, each with a lifetime guarantee. Express Frame in the Common Shopping Center on North Peters Road.
So many people get their insurance through an app these days, but are you getting the best deal, the coverage you need? And when you really need that coverage, who's fighting for you? All insurance is not equal. Trust Chris Smith Insurance.
Welcome back into the Sports Source Saturday Kickoff. John Pennington joined by Jimmy Himes at this point. Jimmy, thanks for being here.
John, thanks for having me.
Playoffs. You know, this segment's called Checking the List, more like checking the bracket today, because as of Tuesday, when the latest rankings were put out there, Tennessee has made the jump from first team out all the way up to the 9th seed. So they got a pretty big jump. You had to have everything go their way, and it kind of did, so I'll ask you about that. But also, in this projection, it would have them at number 8 Georgia. I don't think any Tennessee fans want to head back to Georgia, but you don't worry as much about where they're projected today. So you can talk about those two things. One, all the things that went their way, and then two, the fact that you're not locked into Tennessee at Georgia.
Yeah, so Saturday was a great day for Tennessee, but not for the SEC.
Right.
Because when you have Ole Miss losing and Alabama losing and they fall out. So Tennessee, one of the key things about the most recent bracket is Tennessee jumped Indiana. I wasn't 100% sure they would do that. I thought Tennessee'd get in, but the Indiana movement down ensures that Tennessee's going to make it, because there's no way for Indiana to pass Tennessee now. So that was a big factor. They've got Tennessee as a 9 seed going to Georgia. The reason I don't think that's going to happen is Georgia will either win the SEC, which means they will move into one of the byes, a first-round bye, or if they lose and get a third loss in an SEC championship game, I think they would fall behind Tennessee, because to me, the committee so far has shown it doesn't value strength of schedule as much as it values your one-loss record. And I know Georgia beat Tennessee head-to-head, but I think they would move Georgia behind Tennessee. And so Tennessee, I would be shocked if they end up playing at Georgia.
That's the interesting thing that we don't know, and that is the committee isn't likely to punish teams and knock them out of the field for losing their conference championship game. But will they knock them out of a home game? Will they hurt them in seeding? Or do they just ignore them altogether? I can't imagine they would just ignore them. So your scenario that Georgia would drop behind Tennessee in that case makes sense. The other thing, I will say this about the committee and trying to guess you're right. As of now, I've not seen any reason to believe they value strength of schedule. The only thing that worries me, and it's a good thing you're not on the last team in, the only thing that concerns me is in the past years, you've seen them do their rankings for 4 or 5 weeks, and then that final ranking is a little different than everything else they've done before. It's almost like, okay, now let's get serious about it, and we want this team in and that team out. So I would always be concerned, if you were sitting there at number 11, could they suddenly look at it differently and just, okay, strength of schedule between these two teams. But the fact that you went all the way to 9, you're kind of out of that danger zone. It would be hard. You'd need 3 teams to jump all the way up. Now let me ask you this. If Tennessee loses to Vanderbilt, is there any chance in the world they still get in? You got a lot of teams out there that have already gotten to 2 losses and 3 losses. I don't know that you could. I think it's doubtful, but I don't know if it's completely a stake through the heart, even if you lose to Vanderbilt.
The margin for error is very thin. I think that several things have to happen. Yeah. Auburn would have to beat Alabama. That would be one of them. So now you've knocked them out. I don't see Mississippi State beating Ole Miss, but hey, I've seen stranger things. So I think it's a very, very long shot.
You'd need Notre Dame to lose to Southern Cal. You'd need lots of losses across the board.
You would. And so I think if Tennessee loses to Vanderbilt, I think Tennessee's out. I think if Tennessee loses to Vanderbilt, they deserve to be out. If you can't beat Vanderbilt, you don't deserve to be in the playoff, in my opinion.
Well, because you've only got one good win on the year so far.
Right.
When you look at Tennessee going into that 9 slot, if they stay there, we can look at this two ways, and we'll do both. We'll tackle both issues. Let's say they stay at 9. That's not a great place to be, because in round 2, if you get past round one, you're on the road somewhere, which Tennessee hasn't looked great on the road. Round 2, you're playing the number 1 team in the country. And if that's still Oregon, if they win the Big Ten championship game, that means you're going to the Rose Bowl, which would be cool, but you're playing Oregon. So that 9 seeds, that's a tough one. That's tough to be on the road in your first game, and then the second game, you're having to take on the top team in the country.
Absolutely. And you mentioned that Tennessee's not been great on the road. That was proven again this year when they went to Georgia and lost. That would be a difficult task for Tennessee. So you don't want any part of that. You don't want any part of going to – now, I do like the Rose Bowl, okay?
Yeah, I think that'd be fun too.
But the idea of trying to survive in advance, that's not a good path. So that would be difficult for Tennessee. Could they potentially stay at 9 with the win over Vanderbilt? They could, depending on what else happens. But, yeah, the 9 slot is not a good slot.
Which, you've kind of touched on it, but the 9 slot is just one slot away from being at home. It's the 9-8 flip. Now, if you'd told me last week they'd be this close to – I mean, I thought they needed some help to get in, which they did. But they got so much help. Now they're on the verge of possibly getting a home game. Yeah. If more teams drop in front of them, they could potentially get a home game. The path for this team, getting a home first game or road first game, it's night and day difference in my view in terms of an outlook.
Absolutely. And if you get a home game, obviously your chances of winning are greater. I even think about the NCAA men's basketball tournament. Some teams start out in Dayton.
Yeah.
And they win, and they have some momentum going to the next game. I think if you get that home field advantage in the first round of the playoffs and win, I think you bring some confidence into the next round. So I think that would be huge if Tennessee could play their first game at Neyland.
You've covered Tennessee for a long, long time. When you look at this game today, it's basically a playoff game.
It is.
Now, Tennessee had a playoff game against Vanderbilt that wouldn't have been the national playoff, but would have gotten you to the Sugar Bowl in 2016. You lose it.
Yes.
Tennessee had a playoff game in 2001 against LSU. You win that, you're in the national title game.
Right.
You didn't win that. In terms of this one today, it's one thing to lose to LSU in the SEC championship game. I don't know that fans are going to be as forgiving, even if it's a decent Vanderbilt team.
Oh, no.
I don't think they're going to be forgiving of losing to Vanderbilt.
Oh, absolutely not. And this is a Vanderbilt team that they're better than they've been.
Yep.
This is not a typical Vanderbilt team. You got to go back probably James Franklin to see a Vanderbilt team this good.
Yep.
But if you lose to what is considered the little brother, if you lose to a team that, okay, they're a rival just because they're in state, but we beat them. That's one thing you do every year. If you get this close to the playoff and lose to Vanderbilt, all the good that you have done getting to this point, it's lost.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
No, I agree with you. And the thing is, it's made worse by the fact that you had to have all these things go your way, and they did. And now we're in, and we just have to win on the road, which is so easy in the SEC. If you lose to Vanderbilt, it's brutal. Jimmy Hines, thank you very much for being here. I appreciate it. All right, when we come back, we've got the wise guys. We've got some prop bets coming at you. Should make today's game even more interesting. Come on back on the Sports Source Saturday Kickoff.
A day on the lake is more than just time on the water. It's a memory, a story that can last a lifetime. And no one makes memories like Madisonville Marine. Terrific prices, first-class customer service, and the area's biggest selection of boats, like Hurricane deck boats. Perfecting fun on the water for more than 45 years with innovative and incredibly versatile designs. Experience freedom, laughter, and adventure on the water with Hurricane. Madisonville Marine. There's no better place to buy a boat.
I see Marco's role in the community as somebody that people can look up to.
Marcos Garza is very thoughtful. He pays attention to the needs of the people in the community.
He's somebody that's very unselfish, somebody that's going to always be there.
Marcos Garza will work as hard as he can to get the best results for you.
In the future, no matter where I'm playing, no matter what the team I'm playing for, I'll always be on Garza's team.
The Garza Law Firm is Mama Zizi approved.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Hey folks, it's Jake from Rusty Wallace Key of Knoxville. The Vols are off to a hot start, so we're rolling out the hottest deals of the year. You could score a 2025 Kia Sportage for $249 a month, or you could drive home a 2024 Kia Sorento for $267 a month. Are you looking to go bigger? You could ride high in style in a 2024 Kia Telluride for $379 a month. And as always, every new Kia comes with Rusty's exclusive 200,000-mile warranty. So draw up the winning play and make your way to Rusty Wallace Key of Knoxville, I-75 at Callahan Drive.
Welcome back into the Sports Source Saturday Kickoff as we get you ready for Tennessee Vanderbilt coming up in just a little while. This segment brought to you by Games and Things. The Christmas season is here. Folks, you can buy the big gift or small stocking stuffers, either one at Games and Things. They've got everything from Pop-A-Shot basketball to poker tables to dartboards. Tell you what, you can see all that stuff and more in the Games and Things arena. That's where Chuck Cavaleris, Tyler Ivins, and Josh Ward are waiting to bring you some prop bets in a segment we call The Wise Guys.
Thanks, Sean. All right, guys, big game right around the corner. We have some big prop bets to break it down. 6 over-unders to cover in about 7 minutes. I'll start us off here as Dylan Sampson needs 158 yards for the single-season rushing record in Tennessee's history. He averages 118.8 rush yards per game. So, over-under 129.5 yards today for Dylan Sampson. Over-under 129.5.
That's a great number because it's wedged in the middle. Does he get the 129? Yes. Does he set the record? He does not. Tennessee's got bigger fish to fry. You might have a chip on your shoulder from the non-finalist Doak Walker Award.
Snub week.
Goodness gracious, and we're not even going to get into that topic. I think 6 has got something to work for on top of a college football playoff berth. Yes to the over, just short of the record.
Yeah, I mean, I would look at it the same way, but I think there's yardage to be made up the middle against Vandy.
Yes.
We've kind of seen that in 2 or 3 games. I think they're a little light on the defensive front. So if you're going to run Dylan Sampson, you've got some yardage to be made right up the gut, baby.
A fresher and angrier Dylan Sampson. He didn't get a ton of carries last week, which was great, and the Doak Walker snub. Plus, we've just seen it at this point. Even if you can attack vertically, Dylan Sampson's what drives this offense. So I'll say over the 129.5.
A run angry Dylan Sampson. Gentlemen, in SEC play, Tennessee and Vanderbilt have each had only 8 pass plays of 30 or more yards. Over under 1.5 pass plays for 30-plus yards for the University of Tennessee later this afternoon.
I'll take over 1.5. I mean, goodness gracious. You need to do that. That might be in the first half in a way. So, yeah, I'm going to go over, unless that's kind of like setting the hook and reeling us in on something. Wow, how did we go for that one?
I'll go over 2, maybe a bounce-back spot for Dante Thornton so he gets 1, and then I just need somebody else to do it. Maybe Mike Matthews, who got more of an opportunity to play last week. Squirrel White can still get that done. It's probably through the air more than catch and run. We'll see, but I'll go over for Tennessee.
This is an over for me as well. I don't know how much over. Control the game on the ground with the clock, get it out, get it in, go home, get you a 10-2 season, a playoff spot. I don't know if they need to fool with the air too much, but I think 1.5 is.
This used to be a first quarter question, not for a game with Tennessee, but that's where the
especially if they're selling out to stop the run. You're going to have some chances there. Diego Pavia averages 49.2 rush yards away from home, 70.8 at home. Over under 54.5 yards in Nashville today.
Well, Tennessee's well aware of what he's able to do. Tennessee has a ton of speed to go after Pavia, but this is also just going to be part of their game plan. They're putting it all out there on the field. This is their Super Bowl. It's an expression that's overused, but it is that way for Vanderbilt. So unless he gets knocked out, which could happen, we've seen how the season has gone, I'll say that he goes over just barely, but it won't be everything the offense needs, but it'll be so much a part of the game plan.
You'll have to amputate this man's leg to get him not to play or him not to finish this game. Now, I get it. Tennessee's knocked out a lot of starting quarterbacks this year. We've seen backups all throughout the year. Clark Lea, I believe it was Wednesday or Tuesday of this week, said, well, we're not 100% he's going to play or that he's 100% my backside. Number 2 will be under center for 4 quarters. He's going to get over that number. That's just Diego's game.
I say we've heard over and over and over how banged up he is. Because of the 500 rush yards, 1,000 pass yards, all the hits you take. But Tennessee, I keep hearing the VFL say, well, we're going to have a spy. I don't know that I've seen Tennessee do that much. I can see him getting this because he usually gets that one big chunk play a game when he gets out the backside. Tennessee hadn't done a great job with mobile quarterback.
This is the best rushing defense that Vandy's going to face all year. But LSU thought they could do this. Texas thought they could do this. Alabama thought they could do this. Guys, just sometimes when you get in there, they just find a way to add a little chaos, and that's just Diego Pavia's game. He did this at New Mexico State. He's been doing this in Nashville.
Slowing him, though, is a huge key to the game. Speaking of the defense for Tennessee, James Pierce has 7.5 sacks on the year. Vandy has only allowed 14 all season. Over under 0.5 sacks for Pierce today. Over under a sack.
Push. I think he's going to be a part of a half-sack brigade, if you will.
You're Cavalier-ing the answer right.
Well, maybe I am. Maybe I am. Hell, maybe I am. This is what I will say to that, though. Vandy's game is not to pass. And I think they'll keep this game close enough where they won't be in a, hey, we're falling behind. Here's the thing. Vandy beats you when they do what? Get ahead early. I don't think Tennessee's going to allow them to get ahead early. But they'll keep it close enough in that one-possession realm where they know running game is still key. Pavia hasn't thrown that many interceptions or been sacked that often because he's smart with the ball and gets it out. I think it plays that.
Right. This may be one of those loop-around sacks like we saw against UTEP, right? And Tennessee, I tell you what, they talk about it over and over. You got to make Diego Pavia a pocket passer. That's where you're going to get your sacks. I'll take over. I think he gets one at some point in the game.
Well, I'll balance this out. I won't be surprised if I'm wrong. I'll go under.
All right, gentlemen, I'll speed it up here. Nico Iamaleava hasn't thrown an interception in the month. That's the 4 games over the month of November. Over under. Does Nico give one to the other team today?
Well, the first thing that flashed to me was the first pass over the middle that was like 5 yards behind. What was it, Squirrel White? I'm going to stay with the trend. I'm going to say no. And I'm thinking part of that is Tennessee may be trying to run the ball more.
Yeah, I'm going to go under. He's been good with the football. He has not been 100% accurate. That's right, Chuck. And if you miss over the middle, it can end up in a defender's hands. But I'll say under.
Sweep it. Yeah, he ain't going to give it away today.
Oh, boy, we have just jinxed Nico. Last question there, Chuck. What do you have?
UT has scored 2 touchdowns in each of their 3 SEC road games, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Georgia. Over under 2.5 TDs at Vandy today.
I don't think this is going to be easy, but I'm going to say over.
It better be.
Yeah.
It better be over.
Right.
Well, you can get into a few field goals to pump it up, but you get in the red zone, you got to score. Maybe they hit one of those deep passes for a touchdown.
Yeah.
I'll say over.
I'll take the over, too, and they're going to need to. Look, you're probably, a 10.5-point favorite now. You're playing on the road. It's going to be cold. You may not be able to throw the ball as much. You get it down there, you need to be able to score. You need to be able to put it in. Maybe Miles Kitzelman is a player to watch today in this regard.
Bonus, yes or no, Chuck, does one of those touchdowns come in the first quarter? Can Tennessee get out to a hot start?
Probably not.
Okay. Well, that can lead us to the next conversation. When we come back, John, Kevin, and Ollie will talk about the game plans for Tennessee and Vanderbilt. That's next.
Isn't it time to get the family back around the table again? Put down those phones and stop by Games and Things today. We have the tables you need to get everyone playing together again. Pool tables from the best brands in the industry. Air hockey and foosball tables. Table tennis and poker tables. Shuffleboard and pub tables. Plus, Games and Things offers the largest selection of theater seating and bar stools in the area. So put down that device and get back around the table and start making some lasting family memories today at Games and Things, because life should be fun.
Safety Systems, East Tennessee's top provider of home automation, security, and life safety systems.
Home automation.
Our expert technicians can turn your home into a smart home, allowing you to control and monitor everything from lighting and climate to entertainment systems, security systems, and even appliances, all from your phone or tablet. Upgrade your home with a single phone call to Safety Systems, East Tennessee's leader in home automation for more than 20 years.
Chris Smith was once let down by an insurance company, so he became an agent to make sure someone is fighting for you. Shop insurance now. See how Chris can give you peace of mind and save you some money. All insurance is not equal. Trust Chris Smith Insurance.
From works of art to family photos, enhance the beauty and protect your memories with custom frames, museum-quality glass, and guaranteed craftsmanship. Express Frame in the Common Shopping Center on North Peters Road.
Hey folks, it's Jake from Rusty Wallace Key of Knoxville. You hear lots of offers with insane prices, unbelievable trade-in promotions, and crazy gimmicks. But aren't you tired of all that noise? Look, at Rusty Wallace Key of Knoxville, our message is simple. We'll beat any dealership's price on any new Kia, no matter who they are, no matter where they are, period. If you don't buy your new Kia on Callahan Drive, you'll pay too much. Rusty Wallace Key of Knoxville, I-75 at Callahan Drive.
All right, it's the final week of the regular season, and for Captain's Corner, I'm not here to talk about rankings, the playoff picture, or anything like that. I'm here to speak about one thing that every captain needs to make sure that they reinforce year after year, generation to generation. That is, you hate Vanderbilt. Period. That was first taught to me when I showed up, and I really didn't quite understand. Then one year we got a visit from Coach George Cafago, and he laid down a tirade of what he thought of Vanderbilt and how we should never, ever, ever lose to them. Yes, this week has a lot of implications as a captain preparing what looks ahead for playoffs and things like that. But the number one thing is you teach, you tell everybody around you, you never lose to Vanderbilt. You don't respect them, you hate them, and you gotta beat them. That's my only advice, and I want the captains year after year and 100 years from now to make sure that that's understood. You gotta reinforce that.
Thanks to former Vol captain Mike Stoll right there with the Captain's Corner. Man, that's a guy that hates Vanderbilt. This segment brought to you by the folks at the Garza Law Firm. And you're going to see a lot of ads on television for attorneys. And a lot of those attorneys aren't here. Do your research. There are a lot of people that are based in Birmingham. They got law offices based in Memphis, and they run ads here. And you sign up with them, and then you find out, oh, you're not even local. You don't know the local scene. Marcos Garza and the Garza Law Firm are local. They know the local scene, and it just so happens they're also the best attorneys in East Tennessee. Track record is fantastic. The Garza Law Firm. All right, this segment is called What's the Game Plan? And I'm going to start with you, Kevin. We'll talk defense, and then we'll get to Ollie and the offense in a second. Diego Pavia, he's kind of a poor man's Johnny Manziel. He runs it pretty consistently. We showed a little earlier in the show that in road games he averages about 40 yards on the ground. Home games, he averages 70 yards rushing on the ground. So he's a little more dangerous at home. How should or how will Tim Banks approach this with the Tennessee defense?
I expect Tim Banks to approach this game just like how he has any other. We're going to run our blitzes. We're going to play some zone behind it. We're going to mix it up some. The thing is, though, when you're facing an offensive staff that is very creative and they do a good job. They've done a good job of scheming guys up all season. When the guys on offense understand where you're going to be, they understand the looks. Okay, here's what we got. It's a dangerous spot to be in because they can pick you off. And I think we got some strong tendencies on defense to where they're going to be able to eke out first downs. Here's what they want to do. They want to run the football. They want to possess the ball. They want to keep you off the field. This is to anybody. So they're definitely going to want to do that to us with what we're capable of doing offensively.
Good use of the word, yeah. What they're capable of.
Capable of what we're doing offensively, but so I think I don't think we're going to do much different than what we've done. It's going to be stress put. Hey, eye discipline. Here's the plays. I can't, because they stress you a lot of different ways with some of the play action, some of the QB design runs, and then some of the pass game comes off a lot of the run game.
This is another one where you're going to feel the missing man of Keenan Peely. It would help to have him out there. Yeah. All right. Ollie, you've played on the last couple of Josh Heupel versus Clark Lea games. Tell me about the Vanderbilt defense when you went against them and how Josh Heupel approached it.
Yeah, so, I mean, when you look at Vandy's defense, their structure is kind of similar to what Kentucky likes to do a lot. They'll run that 3-4 defense. And so, I mean, what we've had a lot of success with in the past is a lot of our power plays. Power works really well against them. I mean, I think last year when we went up there, we ran it. I can't tell you how many. I couldn't count it on my hands. It's that many times. And I mean, each one hit. So, I mean, you're going to see a lot of that, and it's going to be mixed in, too, with guard and tackle counter. So they're going to pull both of them at the same time, try to make some big holes and stuff like that. But what you see from offensively, what we try to attack more is just the run game. Our run game has always been successful against these Clark Lea defenses and Vanderbilt in general. And, I mean, this year, no doubt, our run game has been our strong suit. So, I mean, I think you're going to see a lot of that, hammering that run game. I keep thinking back, I think it was 21, Coach Fulmer came and talked to us. You know, you always talk about the heat between the two, and he was like, back then I just told him it's just like pool, you know, knock, knock, rack, rack. We're going to put it back up. We're going to get back up and do it again. So, I mean, it's smash mouth football with these guys. And, I mean, especially with what they want to do and how strong our running game is, it's just going to be more smash mouth and hammer it down and see how much we can come out with.
Any other wild cards going into this one? Anything that stands out to you? I mean, you've got by this point, he's past the freshman status. You know, Nico's seen a lot of football, but he's never played in a game where it's for all the marbles. You know, it's a playoff spot or not. You'd like to see them go back to the game plan they used at Georgia.
Yes.
The easy, get him into a rhythm early, easy passes. He came out against UTEP and was all over the place, and it didn't. He looked like a guy who'd been hit. And yet he hadn't been hit. He just came out, and it was not a good start. Then he got hit. He got hot, but it was not a good start. And I think against this team, it's one thing to let UTEP hang around. They don't have the talent. You don't want to let Vandy hang around. This is a team that beat Alabama, hung around with Texas, almost beat Missouri. You don't want to have that UTEP start. So, are you looking for them, praying that they will come out and make it easier on Nico to start?
Father God, please. Yes. I mean, I'm just praying, like, if you ever had any thoughts, like, well, maybe we could try to chuck it downfield, to start this game, look no further than UTEP to know that that's not the best way to go about this.
Right.
Well, just, short passing game, get them going in a rhythm. And I think LSU exposed, you can run on these guys. Yeah. They do not tackle well on the third level at all with their safeties and corners. Their fits are all over the place. Their body control, they got some size back there. But these guys, they're selective tacklers. Sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. Like, so there's definitely going to be some hay to be made back there. But from a game plan standpoint, don't fool around with this. Just get Nico in a rhythm. Let's run this football. Let's go on our first possession. Because these guys are going to hang around. This team is mentally tough. They are going to stay in it. I mean, they've done it every single game. They're going to be there all the way to the end. You're not going to get them down big or something, and these guys just fade away.
Yeah. All right. Anything to add?
Yeah, just to add real quick to what you said, this game's going to be really telling it, too, to just see how much character growth that Nico's had throughout this year. Because, you don't want to say there's pressure on him, but there's pressure on him this game. This is a big pressure game, so it's going to be good to see how he handles that pressure.
And it'd be a great time to see his wide receivers step up and make some plays for him.
You know what? There'll be some opportunities back there, so... Hey, squirrel, brew.
Catch it when you get it.
Yep, hey, you guys get ready, baby.
All right. When we come back, it's countdown to kickoff. I mean, the game's right around the corner, so why don't we tell you what's going to happen? We're going to do 12 score predictions on the other side of this break. Come on back on the Sports Source Saturday Kickoff.
For 4 generations, A.G. Hines Company has been a pillar of the Knoxville community. And since Albert Heinz Sr. opened our doors back in 1920, we've been supplying do-it-yourselfers with revolutionary products and tools. With Nudura insulated concrete forms, your project will be both rock solid and more energy efficient than steel or wood structures. Cutting-edge materials and tools at affordable prices. That's what we've provided for more than a century at A.G. Heinz Company.
A day on the lake is more than just time on the water. It's a memory, a story that can last a lifetime. And no one makes memories like Madisonville Marine. Terrific prices, first-class customer service, and the area's biggest selection of boats like Skeeter bass boats. For more than 75 years, generations of anglers have trusted Skeeter, the best engineered boats on the water. Ensure a smooth, dry, safe trip to your favorite fishing hole. Madisonville Marine. There's no better place to buy a boat.
Hey folks, it's Jake from Rusty Wallace Key of Knoxville. The Vols are off to a hot start, so we're rolling out the hottest deals of the year. You can score a 2025 Kia Sportage for $249 a month, or you can drive home a 2024 Kia Sorento for $267 a month. Are you looking to go bigger? You could ride high in style in a 2024 Kia Telluride for $379 a month. And as always, every new Kia comes with Rusty's exclusive 200,000-mile warranty. So draw up the winning play and make your way to Rusty Wallace Key of Knoxville, I-75 at Callahan Drive.
From family heirlooms to sports memorabilia, protect and showcase your treasures with custom frames and shadow boxes, each with a lifetime guarantee. Express Frame in the Common Shopping Center on North Peters Road.
Every Sunday morning, the Sports Source brings you 90 minutes of honest, intelligent Vols coverage. More analysts, more topics, more fun. The Sports Source, Sundays at 11 on WATE TV6 and WATE.com.
Welcome back to the Sports Source Saturday Kickoff. Tennessee and Vanderbilt just around the corner. This segment of our show, our prediction segment, always brought to you by Chris Smith Insurance. He's my insurance agent. I consider him a bit of a double agent. He's got great plans because he's a farmer's agent, but he's also an independent agent. So if one of the farmer's plans you don't feel it's right for you, he's got other plans he can put before you and your family to help you protect them and your property. Chris Smith Insurance. All right, time for a dozen different predictions as we tell you who, how, and why.
Diego Pavia says this game is life or death. I think the Vols take that to heart as well. Too much is on the line for Tennessee. They win at 31-17. The defense does its part containing Pavia.
All right, guys, prediction time. Tennessee against Vanderbilt. Tyler, you and I have been aligned a lot this season. Let's see how close we are today. I'm going to go Tennessee 27-17.
Oh, my God.
They did.
Yes, I swear to God, that was my prediction.
It looks like we're going to be close again. I'm going to say 27-17. Tennessee's offense is balanced enough over the course of the game, and the defense keeps Diego Pavia and Vanderbilt's offense in check enough.
This was, to me, going to be a 2017 game late. A lot of Tennessee fans are chewing on their fingernails as you get Dylan Sampson to dive in late. 27-20, Tennessee's going to end up winning this football game.
Well, if you look, Vandy hadn't been scoring quite as much. Tennessee's been around 23 points, 23 points. I'll take 24-13.
Okay, my score prediction this week for UT and Vanderbilt, they better not lose. That should not happen. But I think Tennessee gets the job done. I think Dylan Sampson has a little bit to show. No turnovers, giving Vanderbilt cheap points. I think Tennessee walks away with this one 27-13.
So Tennessee takes on Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's good enough to beat Alabama, but bad enough to lose to Georgia State. To me, the key in this game is going to be third down conversions. If Tennessee wins that, they win the game. I've got Tennessee 27, Vanderbilt 16.
We've seen Tennessee at a number of big games this season, and for the most part, they performed really well. So because of that and their experience and everything they're playing for, I think this will be a Tennessee win. Now, do they cover the 11-point spread? I'm not sure, but I'm going to go 24-17 in favor of Tennessee, and I think Dylan Sampson's going to give them at least one score.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Tennessee too. I think this is going to be kind of a low-scoring, grinded game. It's going to be cold and maybe cloudy, all those kind of things. I'm comfortable, but still Tennessee controlling throughout. Right at about that point spread of Tennessee 27-16.
Against ranked teams, Vanderbilt has actually outscored Tennessee by 4 points a game. They've 24.5 against ranked teams. Tennessee 20.5 against ranked teams. I think you can kind of hone in on those numbers, but I'm going to flip them. I'm going to say Tennessee 24, Vanderbilt 20, and it could even be a little bit closer to that. I was going to say 24.5 to 20.5.
I don't think that works like that.
All right, you heard everybody else's predictions there. I've been back and forth on this all week. The SEC, you've got teams going on the road and losing. 7 times a ranked SEC team has gone on the road inside the league and lost. That's the second most in conference history. Tennessee's ranked, Vanderbilt's not, and you're on the road. I've been worried about it, but I'm still going to go Tennessee. I can't pull the trigger on a Vanderbilt upset with the playoff on the line. I'm going to take Tennessee, but I think it's going to be an ugly game. I'll take the Vols 24-17. Same score as LSU Vanderbilt. Ollie, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm going Tennessee. I think we have the ability and obviously the capability to make this a boat race if they want it to. But down in I think I'm going to go about 35-21, 24 around there. I think there's going to be a lot of scrappiness. But with it being a noon game, I don't feel the weight of the road win or the road travel. Yeah, the crowd. Their stadium's under construction. It's not going to be a complete packed house. So I feel confident in our abilities to go out there and make a solid game plan and do what we need to do.
All right. Kevin, what are you doing for your score prediction?
31-27 Tennessee. God,
high scoring game.
Don't have people out here with the pitchforks trying to get you. I mean, that'd be bad juju. Bad juju. Yeah, at this point to go Vanderbilt.
But we've got to be honest, Kevin. But I am honest. I think Tennessee pulls it out. But I'm not going to lie though. I'm concerned. I'm concerned about it. Again,
I'm concerned as well.
If Alabama can't win there, if Texas goes in there and struggles, there's reason to be concerned. And you lost at Arkansas.
Have you seen our offense this season?
There's reason to be concerned.
Have you seen our offense last season?
Yeah, there's reason to be concerned. All right. All right, let me ask you this just very quickly. We got about, give me 15 seconds. How is this big game? How's Heupel for pregame speeches?
Yeah, no, I mean, he gets you fired up, but he does it in a good job of get you locked in the details, but also like for games like this, he even says is like if my speech is what has to fire you up, then you're in the wrong spot.
There you go. Yeah. But he does have the ability.
Yeah, he does have the ability.
All right. Ollie Lane, Kevin Simon, thanks all year. It's been fun. It's been a lot of fun. Thanks to our sponsors, especially Jake Bull and Rusty Wallace Kia at Callahan Drive. Man, that great place to buy a car and also just great people, and can't thank them enough for supporting us all year. Who knows? We may be doing a bowl or playoff special, but for now, it's been a great season. We appreciate them. We appreciate all of our sponsors. We appreciate you for watching us all year. Thank you. Coming up tomorrow at 11 a.m., we're going to break down this game. So we'll have a post-game show, as usual, 90 full minutes, and we'll have the latest on the playoff and brackets and all that stuff. So we'll see you on the Sports Source tomorrow at 11 right here on WAT6. Sit back, enjoy the game, enjoy football all day, and then watch 6 on Your Side sports coverage tonight with Reese Van Haften. We will see you tomorrow at 11. Enjoy the game.
Playoffs!
Coming January 2025, something completely new and completely different. The Sports Source Digital Network. All the Sports Source personalities with all new shows covering Tennessee athletics, sports gambling, fishing and hunting, baseball, the Lady Vols, and much more. The Sports Source Digital Network, coming January 2025.